Hi everyone, welcome to the August National Online Chapter Meeting of the Building Designers Association of Australia. My name is Jennifer Binns and I'm joining you from sunny Tasmania, and Sarah Jane is with us from head office in New South Wales. It's great to have you with us, so please use the chat box and let us know where you're logging in from. We've got two speakers today, Spirula Stathakis from FOS Collective and Clint Field from Nero Tapware. But before we get started, I've just got a few bits of information for you. Big news is, of course, the National Festival of Design to be held in New South Wales from October 18th to the 21st. This year's conference is about three key topics: AI, build and design. Eob from Icon Events is pulling together an amazing lineup of speakers with the likes of brand futurist Tony Eads, New South Wales Building Commissioner David Chandler and more. Sarah Jane will put the link in the chat for you to check it all out. And the second big announcement is the introduction of Nero Tapware as the new BDAA industry partner. And we're very fortunate enough to have Clint Field from Nero join us today. And we look forward to welcoming Nero Tapware to our community. So join us on the 18th of August for International Building Designers Day. We're going to explore the transformative power of building information modelling, BIM. This event is dedicated to empowering building designers with the knowledge, skills, processes and resources to excel in BIM implementation. From understanding the implementation and evolution of BIM to harnessing its potential in design and construction, we aim to guide participants towards understanding and mastering the BIM landscape. So whether you're a seasoned BIM expert, a student graduating, or a designer still drawing by hand, this event offers invaluable insights into mastering the BIM landscape. Sarah Jane will put the link in the chat for free registration, so be sure to check that one out. And for those of you who are new to the BDAA, we hold this meeting on the first Tuesday of every month at 1 p.m. and our aim is to provide a platform for members to share ideas, learn from each other and industry experts. And I also want to remind everyone about the BDAA Connected Community Portal, which also hosts our job board. So if you're looking for work or have a project you want to outsource, this is the platform to list it on. For those who are new to the community, Sarah Jane will put the link in the chat now. And if you're having trouble accessing the portal, please let us know and we'll assist you in getting online. The BDAA chapters, thanks to Kylie Mitchell, are in full swing. We have lots of face-to-face events happening across Australia in the coming weeks. And these events will provide a fantastic opportunity to connect with fellow designers. So please do bring along a friend or a colleague to introduce them to the association. Check out the BDAA website, the BDAA community and the BDAA social media for event dates and times and for continuous updates. Sarah Jane will also put a link in the chat for you to register for the upcoming events. And if you would like to give a presentation at a future meeting, please also reach out to Sarah Jane at media@bdaa.com.au because we love seeing live member case studies and other presentations from our members. So moving on to our presentations, remember you can ask questions anytime using the Q&A box, and questions in the chat box can get missed, so it's better to post them in the Q&A box. And our presenters will either answer as they go or at the end. Our first speaker is Spirula Stathakis from FOS Collective, and today Spirula is going to be discussing her involvement in the first co-living space in Australia. So first, just a little bit about Spirula and the FOS Collective. The FOS Collective is based on three primary principles: inspiration, education and collaboration. And they believe that these core principles can work in harmony with one another to create amazing results for their design studio and clients alike. Their goal is to create functional and striking spaces by applying the combined and collective skill sets. Spirula is the driving force behind the brand, and with over a decade of experience, continuously works to perfect her craft. Welcome, Spirula. Have we got you online?
Hello.
Hello. Good afternoon.
Good. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Change it to the camera so that you can actually see me.
And we can hear you.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you
Welcome.
today?
Nice to have you with us. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. So I might just share my screen to kind of get this happening.
We can see the screen and we just need you to go into...
Fantastic. Give me 1 moment. Here we go. Amazing.
Okay. I'm going to hand over to you.
Awesome.
Thanks, Squirrel.
Thank you. Just confirming everyone can see the screen.
Yes.
All right, great. All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Spirula. I am the owner of FOSS Collective. Sorry, there seems to be a couple of pictures here that are not showing, but that's all right. We'll move past from that. So FOSS is not just the Greek word for light, which you probably realize from my name. I am of Greek heritage. It obviously, light being a very pivotal force in the design world, it also is an acronym for freedom of speech, which is one of the core principles that I've built the business on. And that is that everybody has a voice. So my business is very, very based around the collaboration, which is very much in line with co-living, as you'll see as we move forward. So if Jennifer just explained a little bit about FOSS, so I won't bore you with any more details. I'll explain a little bit more about why I've been brought here today to speak about this topic. And that is, apart from having founded a design studio, my past life, which is what I call anything before my studio, has been a real weird and wonderful world in design and construction. I've been very, very fortunate to be able to work with some of the greatest and been part with some of the country's most influential projects. I've had the opportunity to work on Crown Casino, Education New South Wales, and the media on TV shows such as The Block and Deadline Designs. I've also had the great opportunity while working at Mostegim Associates to work on the first ever co-living space in Australia. So that's why I'm here today. It's not the first in the world, which would have been amazing, but it is the first in Australia. So this is just a little bit more about what I do outside of the project space. I appear on podcasts to discuss all my experience and knowledge. I have been an ambassador on judging panels. I've been a co-author on a book that's about to drop in the first quarter of 24 and have worked within the media. So I've really had a diverse experience within the industry. So let's get going on with co-living. So what is co-living? So simply put, co-living is a modern form of communal living in which residents get a private bedroom in a furnished home with shared common areas. So co-living really has become more to light actually post-pandemic. So co-living is not a new concept. It's actually really something that we naturally do as human beings. We coexist in all spaces. What we're doing now is actually becoming a bit more intentional and a little bit more conscious in the way that we're designing to make sure that we do nurture those relationships and we do create those sense of that networking, that sense of connection and that sense of community. So it's exactly as it says there, co-living creates a greater sense of community. So the core principle of co-living is that the resident can be alone without being lonely. This means that in order to accurately define a space or a design as a co-living space, one must have the ability to have privacy when wanted, but also have access to communal areas, whether that's courtyards, communal kitchens. They should be able to have the flexibility and the freedom to, I guess, live the way that they want to live. And that is something that's become more apparent in recent years, especially post-COVID, because we've realized that as much as we loved being, I guess, in the first part of it, loved this really fast-paced society and cities, country that we live in, we love the fact that it slowed down. And we love the fact that we weren't doing anything and we weren't working and we could go for walks 5 times a day. But it took its toll. It got to the point where eventually we really, really missed seeing people. And that is where the whole idea of co-living came from. And that's why it's become such a big phenomenon since then. So co-living is created on the 3 basic principles, which is well-being, community, and sustainability. So it's in order to bring those 3 together and we create, I guess it brings the core values of the idea of connection, whether we connect with ourselves internally, we connect with others, or we connect with nature. And we're finding that now the fact that we've become such a high density, I know I'm in Sydney, I'm based in Sydney, I've become such a high density city that we have nowhere to go but up. And the price of property, the interest rates, the inflation, all of that has become more and more increasingly difficult with the generations as they move forward. So we're having to become a lot smarter with smaller, tighter spaces. So co-living. Co is, I guess, an abbreviation that has a lot of connotations. It's something that is open to interpretation, and it's something that people can, I guess, interpret and put whatever meaning to it that they want that actually resonates with them. It's to create a balanced lifestyle. So co can stand for collaborative. It can stand for conscious living, community living, convenience, smaller spaces, less cleaning, connection, and having that commonality with our, I guess, with our fellow man. What are the benefits of co-living? So co-living in Australia has become somewhat of a phenomenon, and it's evolved greatly since its very simple beginnings that I was working on. It's constantly developing to suit the requirements of its residents and growing needs of our society and the current times. As a country, we are increasingly moving more and more towards high density living, as I mentioned, and co-living is the way of combating the isolation many people feel living in properties alone, whether they be apartments or single dwellings. Co-living doesn't necessarily have to be an apartment building, where the majority of the cases there are, and it is due to the high density living, but it can just be coexisting with other people in a home and sharing the common areas, which is something that people have been doing for many, many years, and not always for financial reasons. For the sake of this presentation, I will be focusing on the benefits provided by the original co-living brand, and the one that I was very, very fortunate to be able to design, and that is UCO. So the basic concept and design model of co-living, whether it's UCO or any other brand that has come about since then, is that it should follow the same principles and inclusion models to actually ensure maximum benefit for its residents. So let's hone in onto the UCO brand. Now, what do they include? Across all of their properties and all of their locations in Sydney, all bills are included. They are fully furnished properties. There is high-speed internet. There is an in-house local host, which creates that sense of networking. It brings people together. There are social activities such as movie nights, Monday night dinners, yoga sessions. There's fresh linen. There's access to cleaning supplies. They're very innovative, cool, and detailed designs. And they have access to common laundry facilities, but all with one really low, I guess you could call it rental payment, which could be as low as $500 a week. Now, they are small self-contained apartments, and you'll see them as we move forward, but they have all the basic necessities that you need. So you can stay with, for anything as little as 3 months, all the way through to a year. So let's look at who it actually is targeted for. Sorry, I'm too far. So who's the target market? Although co-living is aimed at anyone and everyone looking to rent a short or long-term stay studio, there seems to be a trend in the type of person that is naturally drawn to the idea of the collaborative living spaces. So statistically speaking, co-living proves most popular with young business people between the ages of 20 and 45. It's especially popular with international and domestic business travelers that may require short to long-term stay, say between 3 to 8 months, and want to meet other people and feel connected while also enjoying their privacy and solitude when required. Now, that is just a very kind of vague statement. It really is for anybody who wants to simplify their life, who wants to live in a space that provides the necessities, but without all the bells and whistles. It's just what you need to live. We live in a very, I guess, in a society that is all about high consumption. We love the details, we love the big spaces, and there is so much hype around having really large open plan livings and dinings and all of those bells and whistles and the specials, that things that we all want. But the truth is, it's not what we need. What we need is connection more than anything else. So by providing that, we're able to, I guess, essentially get back to the core values of what well-being and human life is really about. So let's get down to the actual design. So the design objectives that were brought to us by the client was that it obviously had to be the pioneer design. It was something that had never been done before in Australia, and it was so important that it stood out. So by being given that concept, naturally, the first point of call was actually international inspiration. I looked at cities such as Tokyo, London, and New York. Again, very high density cities that are based around a lot of business people, a lot of travelers, a lot of people that are there for the experience, but not always there for the long haul. And so they do just want to be able to go into a fully furnished space and move out without having to worry about selling furniture, without having to worry about being stuck in your own apartment, in an apartment block, and you don't know your neighbors. Because when you're somewhere, especially on your own, it gets quite scary. So it had to be cost effective because this was the first of its kind. Obviously, it was a little bit of the guinea pig, bit of an experiment. So it ended up coming down that each room for the first one, the budget went up a little bit as it went through the different properties, and it became, I guess, more and more, let's say, popular a little bit. People had taken to it well, but for the first of its kind, we had no idea how it was actually going to perform. So it had to be cost effective, and the room ended up being under $20,000 for everything inclusive. Had to multi-use joinery, flexibility in the way that you use the space. We needed to be able to set things out where you could have a friend over and have dinner, sit on your couch and watch TV, do your work, and then put everything away and do yoga on the floor. That was essentially the concept that we were given. And it was really interesting in rooms as small as 16 square meters to allow for somebody to be able to have things set up and packed away in the same space. So everything was built offshore. It was a very, very intricate coordination game, let's say. And it meant that I got the incredible opportunity to fly over to Shanghai and review a prototype of everything that I was able to design, and really kind of play around with it, almost like it was Lego, and pull it apart and put it together to make sure that it really, really worked. And it was going to stand up to use and high traffic and high movement. It needed to include basic living necessity inclusions. It had to be adaptable, sustainable, and best of all, innovative. The whole concept was based around Le Corbusier's idea of a house is a machine for living in. Now, everybody, we're in a design, the BDAA is all around design, architects and builders. Everybody knows who he is, and everybody understands how important this concept is. But we really, really had to hone into what that actually meant. So this is Stanmore, UCO's first property. It's located on Parramatta Road, just down the street from Sydney Uni, opposite Stanmore McDonald's. Really, really great, I guess, thoroughfare. And it was a really good first location because it gave everybody the opportunity to be drawn into low price point rent, all inclusive, close to the CBD. So it was a really, really good first location. I think if they had done it in the outer suburbs, it may not have taken off as well, but the placement of it was perfect. So this is the first design. It had to be fun. It had to be in your face. It had to make waves in the industry. And that's exactly what it did. It won the Good Design Australia Award on innovation. And it was just an absolute joy to be recognised for something that, I guess, was such a long process to get to that endpoint, especially up against the projects that we were up against. So the rooms, as you can see, they were based around smart design. They were adaptable. Everything had a multi-purpose, cost-effective, compact living. Honestly, what you can see there in terms of floor space outside the floor was outside the bed was really all they had to work with. Just on the other side of that wall was that shelf that doubled as a desk. And everything that you needed at its basic level was there. So there was a sofa that pulled out on wheels, there was a wardrobe, and there was a table and chairs. There were even little loops on the cushions to hook them up on the hooks, up on those little circle white hooks there next to the bed, because you really had to get intentional and smart with everything that you did because you didn't have the luxury of space. So as you can see here, this was their second location in Paddington. I was very fortunate to be able to design this one as well. And same concept, different location, different property, heritage listed building on Moore Park Road. Again, location is key. So that was so important, opposite the stadium. Same concept, different color scheme, different ways of adapting, but I guess at the end of the day, it served the same purpose. And that was to create floor space and to have newer necessities there. So let's have a look at some of the other spaces that I had the opportunity to design. These are all UCO projects. So I was able to do Stanmore, Paddington, and Newtown. And then they're just some examples of the different design elements that were included in each of them. Now, each property, because of the fact that Paddington, for example, was actually 2 heritage listed terrace homes that had the common wall knocked down, a big staircase that turned into 22 rooms. Now, everybody that knows inner city living knows that sometimes it's hard to get 3 bedrooms in a terrace home, let alone getting 22 in 2 of them. So it had to really be smart. We were having rooms up in the attic, and so everything had to fold away and become a clutter-free, clean environment. And you can see there just some of the design principles that were taken into account when it came to tonality to make sure that everything flowed nicely. And when it came to folding things away, you can see there that in the bottom middle was the kitchenette for the Paddington project, and it was actually behind bifold. So when that kitchen was closed, you couldn't see anything, just looked like a big wardrobe. So those kinds of details were what really sold it, because you don't want, if you want to just leave your dishes in there and walk away, but you've got a friend coming over and you're sitting in 16 to 18 square meters, you don't exactly have the luxury of closing the doors to a butler's pantry. So you really, I guess this is just their way of, it's a way of really being able to create that sense of privacy with a really limited space. So the common areas, these are the areas that I guess are what define co-living. As beautiful as the rooms are and as tight as they are, it really came down to what the common areas did. Now, the actual co-living design has evolved so much more since, I guess, its inception with the first UCO project at Stanmore, where now, because it's just exploded as a concept, it's really kind of become a lot more creative with what the spaces include. So post-pandemic, this whole work from home culture has become so prominent. Entire organizations are working from home and functioning just fine, which prior to COVID, we never, ever would have thought of as an option. So they're even including now co-working spaces in amongst the co-living blocks. And that it's got hot desks, it's got everything that a co-working space would have, and your apartment being right next to it. It's really amazing. So as you can see here, it was all based around something that was really kind of comfortable, really funky, and really inviting. So this is just a few images. Now, co-living is not based around luxury living. It's not about, the finest finishes. It's not about high quality marbles. It's actually not about that at all. It's all about practicality. It's about functionality, and it's about longevity and sustainability at the end of the day. So what's really, really important was to actually focus more on, when it came to the finishes selections, they actually had to be more practical than they did anything else. It wasn't about the selling factor. It wasn't about you've got natural marble bench tops in your kitchen. The people that go into and live in co-living spaces, they don't care about that because they want low maintenance. And as we all know, natural materials comes with an element of maintenance that a lot of people that go into those spaces, I guess, just don't want. They don't want the extra cleaning. They don't want any of that. And I guess it's so important to really take those factors in when you are designing a co-living space, that you've got to look at things that are environmentally friendly, practical, and functional, and are really, really easy to clean because of the high turnaround as well. So it's really something that I guess that comes down to the core design principles, but it's not really something that has to be, I guess, considered too early on. That's as you go through the design development process. What's really important is the use of space. So collaborative living. one of the words, I guess one of the words of the abbreviation of co that I love, because it really defines it, as well as community. But another word that I really, really love when it comes to co-living is conscious living. Like I said right at the beginning, it is something that we naturally do as human beings. It's just that the life, the way it's going at the moment, it's just brought, I guess, our natural instincts back to the forefront, and how important our well-being is. And what it is instead of just going through life and coexisting with people without even realizing that that's what we're doing, we're just consciously making an effort to design around, I guess, around those principles and around those things that are just naturally built into us. It's about consciously knowing your neighbor. It's about consciously becoming part of a network. And it's about consciously creating a community without feeling the need to have to go to an event, a networking event, or go to a bar to meet people, or go to a club or anything like that. So it's just joining and merging the forces of working and living under one roof and creating that balance and that flexibility, which, although this concept has started in Australia in the recent years, as of 2019, we will see the repercussions of it as we move forward in future generations in terms of emotional and mental well-being, because that living in a cubicle and in the office space is just not going to be, it's just not sustainable anymore. And the fact that this has come to light now and we are consciously able to design around that is so important for future generations. And that aligns with, I guess, sustainability. Sustainability doesn't just need to be the materials that we choose or even just the energy efficiency. Sustainability is how our conscious decisions right now, how they, I guess, progress through generations and how they hold up. So co-living is about connecting people. It's about shaking up the standard rental market, providing people a low risk, all-inclusive space so they don't feel like they're locked in. Co-living is about being more than just any one individual. It's about being part of a wider network or community. Co-living is essentially being. So I'm going to finish this off with a few little fun facts. So did you know that the co-housing concept started in the 1970s in Denmark, whereby families lived in their homes but shared communal spaces? That was not a financial decision. That was actually wanting to, again, consciously create a sense of community around them. The concept that was then reignited in the 90s in California. The creation of the internet began the era of the hacker. That's not a did you know, because I'm pretty sure everybody knows that hackers get in with the internet. But did you know that in turn, it created what they called hacker homes? So in San Francisco in particular, where computer experts worked and lived together to actually hack into people's computers, thus co-living. Since its inception in Australia in 2019, co-living has now evolved to include communal workspaces, as I mentioned earlier, in light of the work from home culture most of us have come to adopt post-COVID. Co-living and co-working has assisted with our general well-being through regenerating human interaction. Many thought, and it's been documented throughout, that co-living was a millennial fad. It was the lazy young generation that didn't want to go to work and go to the office and do all that kind of stuff. But there is so much intelligence in that concept. It seems to me, though, that it's here to stay. And I think that's a very, very good idea and concept that really needs to stay, but it needs to evolve as the times evolve. As co-living spaces do progress, they will need to include more technology. They will need to include artificial intelligence. It's just the way that we're going. And the more they adapt, the more appealing they will seem, and it will be a long-term culture. So in this new post-pandemic world that we live in, I can proudly say that I was part of a concept that's really taken off more so after the pandemic, in the year before the pandemic even started. So that was really, I guess it was foresight by our clients at the time to see a concept that little did they know what was coming, but how much bringing that on board has really changed and helped our community and our well-being, and has helped us transition back into life as we know it today. Thank you everyone very much for listening to my presentation. I really hope it's been insightful and you've learned some things about co-living that you may not have known before. So if you know, it would be great if you could connect with us. If you want to know more about it, reach out to FOSS Collective. That's me.
Thank you very much, Spirula. That's really interesting just to have a look at different housing models. There's quite a few questions that have come in. So would you like me to read through some of them?
Yeah, sure. Not a problem.
I guess the most common question has been what the difference is between your co-living concept and a boarding house or an accredited rooming house, which essentially is just a boarding house.
Correct. And that's essentially what was brought up right at the beginning, at the concept, I guess, at the development stage. And I guess the whole idea was for it to almost become a more all-inclusive, I guess, glorified boarding house. So boarding houses have a little bit of a rough reputation where people don't feel like they really have any kind of sense of quality. So, and most of the time they do have only one communal kitchen, and whereas the co-living idea, kitchenette a room, so they're more like self-contained studios that have the benefits of, I guess, the community and the collaboration of a boarding house. So it's essentially a boarding house 2.0. It's going to take over the boarding house concept. Sure. So,
there's a question: is UCO only for students?
No, it's for everyone. It's for everyone. I remember when it first opened, obviously the location makes a difference. Moore Park, the Paddington project appealed to a little bit of an older audience because of where it was, the way it was designed, whereas Stanmore and Newtown was a bit of a younger demographic. But it's really for anyone that's interested in, I guess, bare necessity, compact living. I guess we're going back to the concept of tiny homes, which has become a bit of a thing in Australia now as well. And it's anybody that just wants to rip out all of the bells and whistles from, I guess, their basic life and downsize. There were retired older couples that just wanted to downsize into rooms that, you know, wanted to have, you know, small or long stays. People, young, old travelers that don't want to be locked into any kind of rental contracts or agreement, that want to bounce from co-living to co-living space around the world. And it gives you, it is low risk, but gives you all the options that you need.
So is it an option for people to actually stay in them long term?
Yeah.
Or is it so they can stay longer than a year in terms of the that co-living concept, where it's more about actually just taking away the disadvantages of renting, where it is generally short term and people have the opportunity to stay as long as they want to stay rather than as long as the landlord wants them to stay?
Correct. That's exactly right. You don't have a landlord, essentially. You've got like a communal host that sets up activities, and we're talking like Monday morning yoga sessions and Tuesday night, you know, movie nights in a courtyard. So it really is, I guess, apart from taking the responsibility of a landlord off you, it's almost like boarding house meets serviced apartment. So you don't really have that landlord that calls the shots, I guess.
So Michael's asked, how are city plans dealing with this?
Well, are you talking about in terms of how we're evolving in master plan?
George has followed that up with a question saying some councils will only approve in R3 and R4 zones now, which I'm assuming is a New South Wales zoning issue. Did you work through the planning issues with the projects you were involved with? Well,
there was obviously the planning issues were there when I was involved, but at the time when I was working for Mostagim, there was the architect that dealt with that side. So by the time I came in, it was more so the detailing of the interiors. But it's because it's become a lot more mixed use now, as opposed to just being residential. I guess the whole point, that's why they're being more zoned R3 and R4, because they need to include other facilities other than just apartments. Otherwise, you've just been an apartment block. So I guess by adding all those extra facilities now, like co-working spaces and cafes, which a lot of the newer, larger ones are doing, it has changed the zoning, yes.
Michael's asked, how do the economics stack up as an inhabitant?
Well, you could have anything, you know, as little as $500 to $600 a week. Now, I don't know what it's like in the rest of Australia, but I know in Sydney, that doesn't get you very much anymore. And so when you've got your bills paid for and your linen changed and everything's included, it is very, very cost effective, because essentially you don't even really have to buy any furniture or anything. Everything's just built in joinery. It's just your little bits and pieces that you want to include to personalize the space, really.
What class of building do they come in under the building code? Do you know?
What's that?
With the units, is it a class 3 building?
Well, it falls in the same category. I can't tell you from the top of my head. It falls in the same category as the boarding house.
Yeah, which is
yes, but again, it depends on the inclusions. I guess that would change the class.
Okay. Alan has asked, can you tell us more about integrating accessible living and intergenerational living into small spaces?
Well, I just got to think about that. That's a really good question. So could you just repeat that one for me? Because it's just...
Alan has said, can you tell us more about integrating accessible living and also intergenerational living into such tight spaces?
Well, look, the basic design was obviously based about what we called, and this is again brand specific, what we called the UCO room, which was anything between 16 and about 18 square meters. But as there are in normal, I guess, hotels and service departments, there is a percentage of accessible rooms that all sat on the ground level that were designed around accessible compliance. So it's not limited to people who, who don't need those. It really is open to anyone.
Sure.
Intergenerational, I guess it's hard because it's not something that, again, you can't pass it on because you don't own it at the end of the day. So there is a new concept that I've seen pop up. I don't know too much about it, but it is a rent to own option amongst the co-living space. So that could be something that you can your rent goes towards actually purchasing property. But again, that's a whole different business model. But it's what I haven't seen is people with babies or any young children in a space like that. There just isn't any room for that.
We've got lots of questions here, but we have to just move on to our next presenter. Are you able to stay on and just answer a few questions at the end of our meeting?
Yeah, of course, definitely.
That would be wonderful. All right, thank you very much, Spirula. There's a lot of questions that I think people really appreciate being able to answer. Right, so thank you very much, Spirula. Our second speaker is Clint Field from Nero Tapware, who is the National Sales and Marketing Manager, and we're delighted to have Clint with us today as Nero Tapware has recently become a valued BDAA industry partner. So let's extend an extra special welcome to Clint, and we look forward to gaining insights into the exciting world of Nero Tapware's products. So today, Clint is going to give us a high-level overview about Nero Tapware, their product range, and some of the innovative features that sets Nero Tapware apart from other manufacturers and suppliers. Clint will be sharing how their product range is designed to be flexible and adaptable to diverse project requirements, whether you're working on a residential project with a unique space constraint or a commercial venture seeking signature touch. Nero Tapware has the solution you're looking for. Welcome, Clint.
Thank you, Jennifer. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, we can hear you fine. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much. Nero Tapware is very honoured and delighted to be a partner of the BDAA. The ink's still drying on that contract as we speak, so it's very, very, very fresh and very exciting for us at Nero Tapware. So I might just share my screen now.
Sure.
Just make sure that it's in presentation mode. Is that visible?
Yep, it is. Yep. Fantastic. All right, I'm going to hand over to you.
Thank you very much, Jennifer, again. Just in the lieu of time, I'll try not to rush through too much and hit on the on the key points. With the theme of today's webinar, it would seem Nero is the Greek word for water. So just an insightful fact there on the back of the previous presentation. The Nero business itself is a family-owned and operated business. We've been in the Australian market now for just on 11 years. The family owned the manufacturing facility in China. The son was educated here in Victoria and started the Nero brand, as I said earlier, some 11 years ago now. Our mission is a really simple one: to provide Australian households and families with stunning, excellent quality at well-priced options for their bathrooms, kitchens, and laundries, and looking at ways of creating experiences through new and better ways, using the product that we manufacture in your home, as we say, is something that happens every day, and it's something that we are very well focused on in relation to how we continue to explore ways to increase that the feel of that bathing experience. We do have a national footprint across the country, both within our own team environment here in Nero Australia, but also from a distribution and a showroom selection centre footprint with a number of our customers, or a number of customers, that be about 1,000 across the country, showcasing our product within their showroom or display environments. As I mentioned, we do own the manufacturing facility in China. It's a very nice family-based story. The manufacturing facility, which opened in 2004, it's very much a new manufacturing facility to the province. Majority of the workers lived outside the province in 2004. The family created hotel-style accommodation above the manufacturing facility to house the employees. And over time, the majority of our employees are long existing employees. The opportunity provided by the Nero business to support these families in buying homes within the province, so therefore they no longer required the hotel-style accommodation and could afford to buy property of their own, to the point now where there's only a small handful of current employees utilising the accommodation facility. All that being said, we also have an in-house chef that provides 2 meals a day in what we would classify as a state-of-the-art facility, which I'll show you a few images on to accommodate that message as well. Environmental and sustainable. There is a requirement for all tapware manufacturers to have a low lead solution by the end of 2025. Our products that are in current production now adhere to the low lead requirements, which is 0.025% of lead only can be contained within the manufacture of the product, and that part being where the water flows through the product itself. And as I said, yeah, we're our current manufacturing, the products we're currently manufacturing are adhering to that now, which is well ahead of time. And we also do all our own in-house design and development. We can do exclusive products and one-off designs for projects. We can manufacture specific lengths and sizes should that be a requirement for projects, particularly when there is a requirement in hard to reach or flexible space environments as well. As I mentioned earlier, you can now see on the screen some images of our manufacturing centre. So it is split between the machining workshop and the CNC centre. So that's where the casting and moulding is performed, into the automatic polishing centre. We automatically polish and we also hand polish. So it is a two-phase process. The PVD plating workshop, and then also the warehouse component of that. So as I mentioned earlier, it was established in 2004. We do have 256 employees within that facility that covers 53,000 square metres, and it is fully family owned and run operation as well. This really short video, and I won't show it all, is our distribution centre in Victoria, Carrum Downs in the southeast of Victoria. We do carry 6 months worth of supply of all 2,700 products that we manufacture. Our business did grow significantly through the COVID period as we had stock availability onshore prior to the pandemic hitting, which obviously benefited us versus some others that weren't as equipped as that. So the question may be asked, why Nero? What makes Nero different to other tapware manufacturers on the market? We do have various product choices from entry level to architecturally high-end design products. We do have 9 collections. One thing that's paramount for us when we design a collection is that that collection must have a full accessories range to ensure the fit out from the bathroom and then also into the kitchen and laundry space as well. We do all our own in-house product design. We've got a very stringent quality control processes in place. I would, based on my 12 months with Nero, it is probably relevant for this forum as well that most, 50% or more of people have not heard of Nero before they see a presentation such as this one. And that is solely because we wanted to make sure that we had our quality control right to back up our market-leading warranties. So we wanted to make sure we had 10 years worth of testing prior to starting to market the brand out into the market, in particular into the architect and design space. Our warranties are market-leading. In summary, 15-year warranty on the cartridge, 10-year warranty on the finish. When we talk about finishes for the Nero range of product, it's a combination of electroplated finish and PVD, being physical vapor disposition. And we've only got one color in our range, which is matte white, that is powder coated. That's because it's very difficult to get any other color to add white to adhere any other way than to powder coat it. So therefore our technology on our finish is very well market leading. We do have multi-color product selection, so we do have across the range 8 different color finishes varying across the 9 different collections. You've just seen an image of our Australian distribution centre, and all our products are WELS rated, watermarked and certified. Just a quick another video showing our manufacturing process. As I mentioned earlier, a combination of machine processing and the human element. Still put together by hand. So yeah, as I mentioned earlier, all the design and development is completed in-house with our design team here in Australia, and then obviously replicated in our manufacturing facility in China. Our quality of product, we only use the highest level of of DZR of brass. 10-year warranty on all our finishes, and as you saw a slight snippet of there, the latest technology in the market, being whether it's coating, knurling, and or the polishing processes. Sustainability, very focused on this space, particularly at the moment with the current upgrades we're doing to our packaging to ensure that they are more and more environmentally friendly, and also focusing on opportunities for water saving products as well. Moving into the key product ranges, just as an overview. So We break those up into two areas, one being our premium range of product, starting with the Opal range, which was what you witnessed in the previous video with the knurling feature within the Opal product, which that comes in 4 different finishes. You've got our premium range of Mecca being our pin lever range of product, which comes in 7 different finishes and is our most popular range of product. Bianca being our most versatile combination of round and square. That comes in 6 colors. Our most recently launched collection being York Hamptons Heritage style, coming in 3 color finishes, and then the very on-trend progressive tapware offering being the Cara progressive in the flat finish, and the Opal progressive also featuring the detailed knurling as part of that offer. Then we also do a builder's range of products, so square, round, and pin lever again, and also the entry-level classic range, which we don't focus too much on, but it just rounds out the portfolio of product. As I mentioned earlier, it comes with a full accessories range across all colours in each of the collections, including drain grates, bottle traps, plug and waste, glass hardware, or shower glass hardware as well. So with the view of always ensuring that we can complete the full bathroom fit off as far as design, look and feel. The latest launch that occurred last month was the launch of our Mecca Care range. Nero is the first manufacturer or supplier to market with 6 different colour finishes on a range of both DDA and assisted living products, all adhere to the Australian standard AS 1428.1. Our ability to get this to market so quickly came from a collaboration with Avail, which are a Melbourne-based design company that designed the Mecca Care option, which used to be known as the Calibri range within their portfolio. We've got the license to manufacture that product on their behalf for a 5-year period. Hence, it gave us 2 years leap in the market by not having to go through the design and the registration phase. As I said, it conforms to the access and mobility approved standards, and the real uniqueness of the design is the fact that it has a weight bearing of 150 kilos, regardless of if it's a 300 mil grab rail or a 900 mil grab rail, which is well over the required industry standard. We were able to extend the pin lever on our Mecca range of product to also adhere to the DDA compliance. You'll see in that image there the full extent of the fit out that is ensured that it gives a look and feel that is far more upmarket than the majority of accessible living products that are currently out there, including fold-up shower seats and also the toilet backrest in the colours also. Here's a view in another angle around that. You can see the toilet rail holder there can also be moved along the grab rail simply with the release of a grub screw to position it where it's required. The range of grab rails itself comes in the normal standard forms, but it is a modular design, so it can be made to order based on measurement and design requirements with an approximate 14-week lead time. It does come in 6 color ranges and is also adaptable, which would be of particular interest in the hospitality hotel industry, where you can actually remove the grab rails to flex up and down in relation to accessible room availability with the use of caps and or robe hooks to cover up the where the grab rail would normally position. So very, very flexible in that environment. That's the 32 mil DDA compliant. Then you've got a 25 mil residential range. Again, still with the design, it holds 150 kilos worth of weight bearing. There is a few additional options within this range which are approved for accessible that's not approved for DDA. One of the big building code changes that is scheduled to come into place nationally in October is the fact that a residential builder must leave the provision in the back of the wall of at least one bathroom of the home to fit off an assisted living range. The assisted living range doesn't have to be fitted off, but the provision needs to be in place. So a good, timely product launch for us in this assisted living space, particularly when the design of the product at 25 mil basically looks like your towel holder looks like your normal towel holder. So certainly giving that perception visually that it's not necessarily a care functional bathroom space. I'm just going through a few images here showing the different types of styles. Again, you can see where we extended the pin lever there to ensure it was BDAA compliant. Better image there of the 960 mil shower seat. And just to finish off around our marketing support, now that we're really starting to branch out in the market. So currently 85 to 90% of our volume of sales comes through a retail transaction through a showroom or a selection centre. We now feel that we have the range and the offer to really branch out into the architect, design, commercial, residential building market with the level of quality of product, the breadth of product, and the service requirements to ensure that we can efficiently provide that customer base with a quality of product and an experience that that they'll always remember. And that probably concludes my presentation there. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Clint. That was great to see a really comprehensive presentation on your products, and they look beautiful. And also really good to have a look at that Mecca range, because that's a really stylish range that will tick a lot of boxes as well. Toria said, nice to see someone address this market. It's a nice alternative to the usual hospital industrial grade designs, and it certainly is. So well done.
No
there's a few questions that have come through. You're happy to answer them now? Or just go
yeah,
through them?
yeah, no problem. Yeah.
George has asked whether Nero have a catalogue online or CAD details.
Yeah, absolutely, we do. So we've got a fully functioning website which contains all the BIM files, the product specifications, and also the brochures for each of the catalogues. We can also send out hard copies of those brochures as well. All our details will be on the Nero landing page on the BDAA platform sometime in the next short period as well.
Rodney has asked where your products are sold.
Yeah, all our products are sold primarily through independent selection centres and showrooms. We also partner with a couple of the branded showrooms such as TradeLink, Swan, Benton's, etc. So we're a different model to some others. We don't sell direct, so it all goes through a merchant. That's part of the requirement of our business as well.
Right. Do you have a range of shower towers or shower panels?
No, we don't do the shower towers and panels at this stage. We're certainly looking to see if there is what the demand is there. We know that there's a pretty strong demand overseas for that type of product as well. So we're always ever looking at that. I mean, we're 2,700 products we've got in the market now. We're well, so certainly something that out of our reach in the future.
Now, I saw a comment come through in the chat box, I think, asking whether you do offer any custom manufacturing.
Yeah, absolutely. We can do that. We've got with the ownership and the manufacturing facility and the state-of-the-art equipment that's there, we can absolutely do that. We need a 14 to 16 week turnaround time there or thereabouts, but it's something we'll absolutely enjoy having conversations about given our capabilities.
Patrick has asked, do or will Nero have any products available as BIM objects?
Yes, absolutely. All products are available with the with BIM objects on our can be located on our website.
Okay. So Sarah Jane has posted your contact details. So if people have got any questions about your products, that they can contact you directly.
Absolutely.
And she's also posted your Instagram handle and your website details.
Fantastic.
I think at this stage, that is the questions. There was a question about whether it's family owned locally in China or family owned in Australia with manufacturing facilities in China.
Yeah, it's family owned in Australia with manufacturing facilities in China, be it the overall family still own the manufacturing facility. So yeah, the father who's set up the manufacturing facility still runs that manufacturing facility, and his son was educated here in Victoria and commenced the Nero business 11 years ago.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that, and we'll look forward to the relationship that we have with Neurotapware. Welcome
No
to
problem.
BDAA.
Really looking forward to
Thanks,
it. Thank
Clint.
you, and thanks
Great.
everybody for listening as well. Thank you for the time.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you.
So that wraps up our meeting for today. So a big thank you to both Clint and Spirula. They were both really great presentations, and thank you for your questions. And thank you for all for joining us. The next meeting will be at 1 o'clock on Tuesday, the 5th of September. So we'll look forward to seeing you then, and bye for now. See you next month.